Hi, everybody. My name is Mr. Dupa. That right there is Adam Obeses Rodriguez.
Merica.
And that other guy, that's Drunk Dave Romero.
Buena tia.
Tonight's brew, in honor of the holiday, is the Samuel Adams Rebel IPA. It's for America, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
It's 6.5% alcohol in every drop. It's going to be delicious, and we're going to celebrate our independence from the goddamn Brits. This is the One Beer In Podcast.
Woohoo!
Let's do it. Clink, 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 clink.
Tastes like freedom.
It sure does.
That is really good.
This beer's not oppressed at all.
Proper taxation with representation. Got any more?
Samuel Adams.
Wait, we're not done with the
do you have more
Constitution puns.
Go ahead.
Still riffing?
You got some?
This beer was a bill. Now it's in my mouth. It's a law. A law of tastiness.
Oh, we're going to move
done.
on now.
Jesus.
You just derailed my train of thought.
That was so bad I broke you, Marco.
Yeah. Samuel Adams. Very consistent for being such a very commercial beer.
It's good, unlike that pun.
Can we
It's bad.
Can we all chip in money to go to improv school or something? Because
Yeah.
I think we all need
might
it a
need
little
it.
bit.
My improv is impeccable.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Give me a topic. I'll riff on it
We
right
can
now.
do
Let's go.
improv games.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Zip Zap Zop. You ever heard of that one?
No.
Totally.
We need more people.
By Bill
Okay.
Cosby.
Yeah.
And the pudding pops.
You see? Improv.
Oh, there you go. Look.
King of it.
Wow. Wow.
Good job, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I was saying,
Mm-hmm.
Samuel Adams, very consistent, though it's a commercial beer. You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Disguised as a craft beer.
Right. The Boston Lager's really good. Their seasonal brews are really good. The
generally.
summer ale was really good.
Yeah.
This is pretty good. I'd give it a 4.5.
They're the grocery store beer that I'll fuck with.
Yeah.
Mm.
I got this from a grocery store.
Yeah, of course
Yeah.
you did.
Yeah. Didn't have to go that far.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you give it,
4.5.
Adam?
It's getting I'll give it 4.5 too, actually.
An 8.5?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 4. It's good. I like it.
All right. This is the One Beer In Podcast. This is episode 18, the 4th of July edition, sort of, not really. And, we're just going to get right in. So the floor is anyone's.
Oh, all right. Well, in recent news, actually, I have no transition for this at all.
Yeah, it was,
Go for it.
yeah.
In recent news, do
That
that?
was my,
That's fine. We're working on the improv. They know that.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, you're gonna edit all of this out, right, Adam?
Yeah, sure.
No, this isn't going anywhere.
Right. Well, we've all seen a gentleman that we've perhaps looked up to or admired for their prowess and socializing with women fall from glory in a blaze of flames. Robin Thicke is one of those men. If you haven't heard, he and his wife, Paula Patton, who is fine as hell,
Gorgeous.
have split up.
Yeah.
Every news source that I've looked at doesn't say why they split up, though it is kind of obvious why, but they decided mutually to split up. And since then, Robin Thicke has been trying desperately, and is becoming creepier and creepier through his song lyrics and performances to try to win Paula Patton's heart back.
Such
Have you
as?
seen this? During his last performance at the BET Awards, he dedicated his performance to her. If I had my phone, I could look up lyrics from his latest album entitled Paula.
Oh, goodness. Really?
Yep.
There's a single from it too that's apparently really creepy.
There's a lot of lyrics, like the post that I was reading pulled all the lyrics out of there, and it was like they went song by song,
Oh, no.
bar by bar, and
Oh,
it's
man.
really creepy and pathetic. But yeah, I mean, I can't blame her, kind of, because you've seen what he does on stage and in his music videos.
Yeah, but I mean, he had to know that he knew that he was lucky when he hooked up with her. You know, like he puts all this stuff out, and he's supposed to be a player in his music and stuff like that. But you know, he had to know in his heart of hearts, like, and that's why he's so desperately trying to get her back, because that's his ceiling, man.
Yeah,
that's a lot of men's ceiling. It's not. He shouldn't feel bad that was his ceiling,
No.
because she is beautiful.
It's a good place to end up.
But once he got there, he knew he wasn't going anywhere else. So yeah, I see why he's. I mean, I don't understand it. I wouldn't do it myself, but I get it.
But did he really know that he was lucky for that? Because he's like basically raised rich, right?
He's
like this
rapping thing.
rich daddy, you know, and he sings.
I
Like,
didn't know that was part of his story.
Alan Thicke's son.
Oh right, yeah, I guess that makes
Yeah,
sense.
so I mean,
I didn't make that connection.
Seriously?
Seriously,
Until this very moment.
never really
Oh
thought
my
about it.
goodness. Breaking news on Marco here. But yeah, like I don't know if he really thought that.
Excuse me for respecting the man on his own musical terms,
All right.
and not thinking about his family history.
Well, you're gonna hate his new album if you give it a listen.
I didn't listen to the album with blurred lines on it. I listened
Okay.
to the album before that one, before the last one.
I only know the first two.
Yep.
Evolution
Yeah.
of Robin Thicke and whatever the other one.
Well, there was a one before that was just
Oh yeah, you're right.
he just went by Thicke.
Didn't he have long hair?
Yeah,
too?
he had
Oh.
long hair.
Oh my
There's this
God.
video of him like riding a bike, and it's like really like indie pop type stuff. It's real weird.
He sounded like he was a little boy. He was riding a bike.
Well, not because he had like gloves on, and he was just like, "I'm happy, and this is fun," and like,
that is weird.
yeah, it's a totally different person. Like you see this guy, and then the next album, I think that's why he called it that.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Changed the style.
not very subtle.
No.
But
There's nothing subtle about Robin Thicke.
nothing subtle.
No.
His shit is like a fucking hammer. Every song, every lyric, there's no subtlety, no nuance.
There are no blurred lines.
Jesus
Ooh.
Christ.
Getting there.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, you almost redeemed yourself.
It's mostly the beer.
I mean, I'm reading the article, and the only thing I can think of is that scene in Swingers where Jon Favreau keeps picking up the phone and leaving messages.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, dude, what are you doing? Stop.
What are you
Come on, stop,
It's
please.
not like, it doesn't matter who you are, what your status is. If you're approaching a woman like that, all pouty and pathetic, it's not gonna work out.
Yeah, it's
No.
never, ever. Come on. Has that ever, in the history of mankind, ever worked for a man?
I don't think so.
No, no, probably
I've
not.
never
Not that
heard.
I've ever heard.
If
No.
anybody's heard, please.
Please,
let us
yes,
know.
call
Email
in. Email us, leave a message. I'd love to know if the pouty, begging on your knees, please forgive me for whatever he did,
It
worked
just
for him.
It just looks pitiful. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know,
He
like
looks- yeah,
nobody
it's
wants
bad.
to be with somebody that's that desperate to
Right.
be with them
Yeah.
after they've shunned them
Right,
basically.
and even like as a celebrity, it's even worse because if I hear of a guy I know doing that, like
Yeah.
not famous, it looks bad on him, and I'm like, pathetic. But
Right.
he's a celebrity. It's on an album that he released, and he's saying it every time he performs on stage.
Yeah, and that's another problem that I've heard people bring up too is that not only is he trying this like sort of half-hearted apology or like overdoing it with it, but he's making money off of it now too. Like the entire thing about it is he's selling records about his breakup in his so-called apology.
Now, see, I don't think that a lot of music, a lot of good music has come out of that area of emotion, I guess. Like
Heartbreak.
heartbreak. Yeah, also, but
That's what it's called.
Not just heartbreak, but like the bitterness that comes from it, or whatever emotion that comes from that. Like the example that I can think of clearly is Marvin Gaye's album "Here, My Dear."
That's what you're gonna do?
His listen.
All right.
He divorced. He gets into this bitter divorce with Barry Gordy's daughter or niece, I can't remember. They get into this bitter divorce, and she wants the proceeds from his next album. So what he does is the next album is called "Here, My Dear," and he's literally giving it to her, and the entire album is all these bitter ass fucking really personal, just taking shots at her. It's like 10 songs of just like fuck off. But it's a really brilliant album when you get down to it. It's really bitter and like kind of makes you uncomfortable.
Did he
But
sell
it's
it for like $1? Which would be even better.
Yeah, that would have been if he just gave it away for free, like,
Yep.
here, bitch. But, I mean, that's one example that I can think of that, brilliance kind of came out of the bitterness of heartbreak.
Yeah.
I don't know how Paula's going to sound. I'd actually kind of like to listen to it now that I think about it.
We'll give that a listen.
And we'll come back with the Paula review next episode.
No promises on that.
I'll review her physically.
There you go.
Review the album.
You got it.
As Robin Thicke cries somewhere.
You hear that, Robin?
It's for you, buddy.
Woman.
Oogle.
No, I mean, you were just saying that, and first album I thought of was God Loves Ugly, an Atmosphere, and his track "Fuck You, Lucy." That was obviously he's always an angry person, but on that album or that record specifically, he kind of went in.
Yeah.
And I think he's like one of the first rappers that really set the platform for people like Drake, because he spoke about his emotions and his feelings and
Murs too. A lot of the underground people that are around that, in that scene at that time, I feel like really made it okay for you to write lyrics, especially in rap in particular, where that wasn't really a cool thing to talk about. No. But I feel like that's some of the most rich human artistic emotion kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of stupid to limit yourself.
Well, I mean,
but that's just the society of rap. You're weak if you show emotion.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I know.
I was going to mention that we're saying Atmosphere as a he, but Atmosphere is obviously a duo.
I know it's a group.
So
okay,
I know.
I'm just helping.
You're right though, because it does sound ignorant the way we were kind of.
Sounds like you don't know.
Yeah, we're like Atmosphere. He, the guy.
I love that
Atmosphere.
guy.
Yeah, I've seen him perform.
Have you heard the Daft Punk?
Daft Punk. He makes really good songs.
But yeah, I don't suspect Paula being a classic album, but I could be wrong. You never know.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
I also don't see Paula getting back with Robin after that, unless it's all a big publicity stunt.
You never know.
Which it could be.
They have a kid together.
Yeah, they could get back together. You never know.
I'm just...
I'm glad we got to dig on Robin Thicke for about 10 minutes. Just bash his personal life and make him feel like a terrible
I don't think he is listening, but just in case he is.
He is.
Just in case.
We're hitting that niche audience of Robin Thicke and people who love Robin Thicke.
Okay.
Expect the hate mail accordingly.
All right. Well, we don't know him. We obviously don't know him personally, so we're just taking this off of TMZ and bullshit like
fuck
that.
him.
I don't know on TMZ.
Well, I'm just saying that's where that type of news comes from. So we don't know his personal life. We don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, but we're assuming from the type of music he makes and what we've seen in his public persona, that he's kind of a sleazy douchebag.
It's the only way we can...
I mean, you go on stage and you let a teenager grind on you.
That's not okay?
Not on TV.
All right.
Not on TV.
But, moving on to more pressing news. Me and David recently, while you were working or something, Marco.
Yeah, doing that thing.
Yeah. We played actually a really, really good game, which we kind of neglected when it first came out, Gone Home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I told him we played it, and he was angry.
Wasn't angry.
No?
No.
Not even a little?
Fabricating stories.
Okay.
Well, he should be, because you read it. You completely
I
left
ruined
out,
it for me.
You left out any kind of suspenseful elements.
Yeah.
Anything that built up to the end of that story.
Well, you know what?
Let's not spoil it, though, just in case people haven't
Yeah,
played
no,
it.
I'm not going to go into detail, but to give credit to whoever wrote it, it was compelling just reading it. So, without playing it, I can only imagine going through it.
Yeah, I mean, I had the feels by the end of it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't want to show it to you, but I was like, inside, I was like, ah!
I was crying on this eye.
Yeah,
on the outside.
The outside eye, yeah, the one I can see. But yeah, no, we played through it in one sitting, and honestly, it was... I didn't really expect it to, but once I left your house after I, got done playing it and got home and laid in bed, like, it was still in my mind.
Yeah, it was good.
I couldn't shake the feelings of that game, which only happens every once in a while. Like, it happened with Last of Us and, like a few other very...
It's one of the, like, it happens very rarely. Mm-hmm. Movies, games.
Right.
If I could read books.
But... we'll teach you someday, buddy. It's okay.
But yeah, you leave, it ends and you're just like, whew. Like, you have, like, this huge weight on your shoulders or off of your shoulders if there's suspense built up.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, it leaves this lingering feeling in your mind, just like, man, this is, what if, bro? Like,
right. Yeah, and I mean, like, specifically talking about Gone Home, it really... it kind of made me see things from a different perspective in a situation, and also have that deep sense of nostalgia that I don't feel like I would have gotten through most anything else.
Right.
Just exploring that house and like seeing all that little stuff.
Because it was in '95.
Yeah, set in 1995.
That was really cool that they nailed like that year.
Right.
Like, everything, the whole storyline was consistent with 1995, and you and I playing it were able to piece together the calendars and the audio tapes that were recorded, or not the audios, the diary logs that were recorded. It was very cool.
The written notes.
Very consistent game.
Yeah, for sure. But my question is, given those certain games are able to kind of touch us in that way that any good fiction does, really, or should nowadays, what do you guys think is the better medium to consume this type of content in? Would it be film or video games?
I would say video games. Definitely video games.
Okay.
Because with film, it's like you're just a spectator.
Right.
You know, you're getting the story, and you see what the director allows you to see. You know, or what the director deems necessary for you to see for you to get the story. But in a video game, that environment it's made, and if it's an open world game or even an exploration game, it's up to you to explore and dig through things. Like, we went through that entire house in that game.
Yeah.
We unlocked every combination lock, even though we didn't need to.
Right. Oh, we missed one. We missed one.
We did miss one.
Yeah. In the basement.
That's right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we didn't even get to see everything, but we dug through it pretty
Right,
deeply.
but even then, it gives you like another playthrough, a more replayability. You watch a movie once, and given there's some movies like Inception which have fucking layers to them.
Right.
Most movies don't have that kind of depth, where you can watch it again and find something else, and watch it again and find something else. Where, like, Gone Home, we could play it again, and you just said we could go to the basement and find something else out.
Right.
Yeah. Video games, they immerse you in the story, so it gives you more. You feel it more because you're taking it from more of a first person perspective. They have a whole genre of video games that they're coming out with now. I don't know if you guys have heard about there's one game. We're about to take a trip to Fieldstown, so Philadelphia.
Nice.
There's a game that this family developed for their son who had cancer.
Oh no.
Yeah, the kid. Stick with me. Ride with me on this train.
Off this train.
Ride with me. Now the kid is 4 years old and he's got cancer.
Choo choo and ride it. Choo.
So the family developed the game, and you take the perspective of you're just kind of there. I think you're the father in the game, and you kind of you watch the kid grow up, and you go through what the family went through with the kid having cancer.
I don't want to play that.
The reason I bring it up is because there's a couple of games like that, and they're creating their own niche in video in gaming, and it's more to your point, Adam, of what is the best way to consume that type of or what is the best medium to consume that type of emotion, and to which medium can be the most impactful,
right,
when it comes to pulling on your heartstrings, basically. I would say maybe video games or reading, reading something emotional.
I was going to bring that point up too.
Because you don't necessarily discover things for yourself in a book, but you definitely create a world for yourself. David was saying with movies, you're right, the director and the actors and it's presented for you, and you can feel a certain way, but you'll always be on the outside looking in. Yep. With a book, you create this world in your mind, and it can be what something is for me will be different for you and for you, depending on how you read it and how you see it in your mind's eye, basically. So you have a closer perspective on it that gives you that emotion.
I get that, but as far as artistic creativity, let's say you make a song that can easily be misinterpreted as something else. If you're taking it as you hear a song, right?
Yeah.
So it could be different for the person who wrote it, and the person who listens to it could take it differently as well.
Totally.
By giving that unlimited imagination with books, I think it kind of kind of takes away from the author's perspective, what they envision. And that's why I think video games are what somebody imagined in their mind to look like, for that reality to exist. And it's as close to as someone's imagination that you're going to get, to seeing what they see in their mind's eye.
Play in their sandbox for a while.
I think I see what you're saying, and that's a good point. I think that, as far as video games, like, you get really close to how the developer wanted you to see and wanted you to feel. You get right in there. You get right in the pocket of that. But as far as literature goes, when you create it for yourself in your mind, I think you are closer to it when it's of your own creation.
It's partially owned by you at that point.
Right. I get what you're saying, but I mean, given that statement and what cinema does with book adaptations, and they completely butcher something, you don't feel like that kind of takes away from it. Like, I know sometimes like a big book, a big seller, will come out with a movie and it'll be nothing like like the book.
I mean, movie adaptations are 9 times out of 10 never as good as the book.
See, that's the fallacy in thinking like that your vision is going to be so much different from a person who can actually put that on film.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But with video games, it's the developer, the writer, the producers that are pushing it and molding it into what they want it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but I think that it's really the artist's priority, in my mind, to make art that is able to be up to interpretation. I think that's the strongest art, is the stuff that you're able to interpret for yourself, not something that's clearly stated, this is point A to point B, this is how it is. Because I've always connected more personally to something that I've had to work for a little bit, and I may have a drastically different view on it than Marco does, or whatever. And we come to, we've read the same words, but we may feel completely different by the end of the book. Or, I mean, but my point in bringing this up to begin with is that I feel like video games as a medium are coming to a head now, where they finally caught up with film and literature. The writing in them has become so strong that I feel like they're on par with these things now, which is awesome. Yeah. Because it's not just this interactive medium to, shoot lasers anymore. It's not just a time waster. It's become its own form of literature.
Right.
And I'm super excited about that.
Right.
But I mean, at the same time, like, if I'm in an interview and they ask, so what kind of writing are you into? Like, what's your favorite story? Or, it's like, because I'm in more of a creative field, and they want you to say Moby Dick or, like something like that. I can't say Last of Us without getting a snicker, you know?
Right.
But that's just not true. I think it's a generational thing that's going on, where eventually when we're the generation that's the CEOs of things and, running the country, it's not going to have that stigma anymore, because we know that there's actual writing involved. There's, production involved in this. It's not just a, point and click shooter type thing.
That I was talking to my brother about the Wu-Tang thing that we talked about earlier, with their piece of art, and how people are like kind of trashing them for kind of being arrogant about, like, who do you think you are that your music is a piece of art, that it belongs in a museum. But I feel like it represented something bigger than itself, and I think like that's what they were trying to convey. And I feel like it's the same thing with video games. You immerse yourself in this emotional journey, but they have an idea that's bigger than the game itself. It's bigger than the enemies that you kill and the point and the art, the leveling up and the things that you gather in the game. When it's a compelling story, there's an idea that they're trying to get across. Any kind of artwork, I feel, in my opinion, there is a larger idea that the artist is trying to convey with a V, using whatever medium that they're using, whether it's a horror story or even Call of Duty. If the developers were trying to say something about war-torn countries and the philosophy of war, and if it's necessary and things like that, if that was the idea that they were trying to convey, I feel like that deserves a place in art.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's not.
Well, we don't really know what their intent was. It probably was just to make a good shooter.
Right.
But I'm just saying it can be as simple as that.
But, I mean, there's a time and place for everything, though. Because, like, there's, club music that we don't put under a microscope.
Yeah.
There's, I don't know, a trashy romance novel that people enjoy, but they're not looking for something that's going to change their life necessarily in that medium. You know, there's Michael Bay movies. You know, everything has that.
Yeah.
So video games are no exception to that. The issue that video games have right now is that I feel like they're in a transition where gameplay still dictates the game.
Yeah.
So even if you look at, you know, Last of Us, like I just mentioned, you're slaughtering like dozens of people.
Yeah.
When if you were reading this in a book, if you killed that many people in a book, it'd be a little ridiculous.
Oh my god.
You know?
It's like a death every page.
Right, but because it's a video game, there are these certain tropes that you have to go through.
And then I got out of bed and I killed a man. And I opened the door and I
killed a man.
his friends.
I had to craft a bomb.
But I feel like that might be, you know, that is becoming the only difference between video games and any other type of medium. You know, is the gameplay itself. And I feel like the importance of gameplay, I think, is something that they shouldn't, you know, let fall to the wayside.
Okay.
For emotional impact, because gameplay. Because at the end of the day, if the game's not fun to play, then what's the point? It's still a video game.
And here's the thing, though. I feel like that's changing, though, with certain types of games, like Gone Home.
We played that thing through. Like, there's nothing fancy about it.
Right. It's all atmosphere, and you open drawers and read stuff. It's kind of mostly a book. You're reading through these notes.
Yeah, exactly.
And experiencing this world. It's not, you know, you don't kill anybody. There's no real shooting mechanics or...
There's no quick time events. There's no puzzles.
Right.
There's nothing. You just explore a house. And through your exploration, you unravel a story. Two stories.
Yeah. But you can't have a video game library of that. You know? Like you said, there's a time and a place for it.
It can be its own genre, I feel. It's this experience type of game.
There is definitely a place for that type of video game.
Right.
No doubt about it. I just, you know, I couldn't play like 3 or 4 of them at a time. You know, it'd have to be like, I'd have to set aside a day. Like, okay, we're gonna play this really heart wrenching game now.
Well, it's the same with anything. Like, I'm not gonna watch Schindler's List and like, you know,
true.
just
you don't go
like,
back and watch Schindler's List over and over.
The
again.
last 15 minutes of Saving Private Ryan. You know, like, come on.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Or the first 15 minutes.
Or just those two.
Next 15 minutes. Yeah, that's
but
movie's full of it.
I think video games have a leg up on cinema because imagine BioShock on film.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they're able to create that kind of environment on the big screen?
The thing I feel like cinema has a leg up on is, well, first of all, there are certain times that you don't want an interactive medium. It's just
sometimes you do just want to sit down.
You just want to sit and watch something and watch an experience happen.
You.
But the one thing that I feel like they do better than video games is this sort of voyeuristic thing where you're able to see it from, you know, like you're away from that situation. You're watching this thing unfold. You're watching these characters. As BioShock, your first person, perspective, I feel, limits your interaction.
Which is funny you say that because old PlayStation games had that camera perspective. Old Resident Evils, Parasite Eves had that, you know,
third
camera. No, not third person. Camera on the wall.
Yeah, the still camera.
Fixed
camera that
still seen.
You would walk through and
right. Which is like what you're saying with how cinema portrays things, and they've really moved from that into something more interactive.
Right.
But think more to Adam's point. If you're terrible at the game, for instance,
right,
the story, the story's like you don't think about the story anymore because now you're trying to get through the game. If the game's too hard and the gameplay you're not good at it, now the story is like
it's limited by your ability to play it.
Right. Which, as far as cinema, obviously there's nothing involved. The story's going to be the story regardless of what you do. But video games, it is really dependent on how well you can get through it. If you get through the game smoothly and you never die, then you might absorb that story as it was intended to be written. But if you just keep dying and then it becomes a work of frustration and you can't get through one part, which, I mean, it's happened to everybody, then it rips you out of the story a little bit.
Yeah.
Or something we yell about with you, Marco, a lot is you don't read everything.
Or discovering the entire
all
world.
The stuff, and you just keep going through the world without catching everything.
Things you do too.
You
don't explore everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay, we can trash me, but we're gonna move on.
Yeah, keep going. I don't like that part.
We didn't forget about that bad joke.
Yeah, whatever.
we're gonna record that.
I moved on. We've all moved on. All right. Anyway, to what Marco was going off of, I think that That's also a generational gap too, as far as the ability to play things, because I feel like older people that haven't really gotten used to the dual joystick thing,
forget it.
They can't do it, and that limits their enjoyment of those types of games. And there's no way for them to experience that narrative other than playing through it.
I mean, you say things like that, and it's like, all right, well, my dad grew up with Atari, and
right.
he had a Nintendo and a Sega Genesis, and it's just like, it's just like we had to get used to the dual thumbsticks. I don't see why they can't adapt it either.
My dad never played a video game in his life. So, no, he hasn't. The dude, I think he might have played like the first Atari. After that, that was it. He never played a Nintendo.
He's never gonna stand.
He
He
probably was. He probably was of that thinking. Like, there's no way this keeps going.
So I just hit this ball back and forth. But what's the? And then what do I get?
Dude, you have to hear my mom. I'll be playing like NBA 2K. She'll come in like, "Who's winning?" I'm like, "I don't know, Ma. Let's find out. I'm gonna keep playing. I might win." She's like, "What? This is real? This isn't real?" And I'm like, "No, Ma, it's not real."
You start spinning the character on the screen.
What is he doing? I've done that before, and she'll go, "Are you doing that?" I'm like, "Yeah, Ma, I'm playing the game.
I'm possessing Michael Jordan."
So yeah,
Michael Jordan's playing again.
there's a huge gap, I think, with certain people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they remember video games from when they were younger, and they saw video games and the last ones they played. So they're seeing Pac-Man, and they're seeing Atari, and
right. And they're
Super
they're
Mario.
Looking at
Maybe
games like they're not supposed to. Video games are supposed to be just games. They're supposed to be, two characters shooting at each other,
Right.
or
Little waste
one
of time.
character side scrolling. Like, that's what it's supposed to be. This is not a video game. I don't know what this is. But this looks way too real to be a video game.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have hopes that maybe they'll get used to the idea of video games being a legitimate art form in the future, if they see it. But as of now, I feel like that's a big hurdle to jump over. And
yeah, I mean, it's been
it's
been the one thing that's been holding video games back for the past couple years now. I mean, there's been games now, the stories have been compelling. And, I didn't get to play, but Mass Effect and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Not Resident Evil, I'm sorry. Metal Gear Solid, those stories.
Right.
I mean, there have been games like that good as far as the story, just the story. So it's been an uphill battle for video games so far.
It's getting to the point where they're getting a little more respect.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's getting better. I mean, there's legitimate journalism going on with them, and actual screenwriters getting on stuff, and people care,
and actual actors now.
Yeah,
actual
real
actors,
actors doing voice acting
and face captures, mocaps as well.
Yeah. So it's getting better. I think that's the big pull from this entire conversation, is that it's getting more and more legitimate as this technology grows and as attention grows to it, because that's where the money is now. People are making more money off video games than they are from film.
Yep.
And I feel like that's only going to be a growing trend as things go on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but glad you brought up 2K, because on the radio today,
Okay.
I heard there's going to be a Sports with Dave section.
All right, let's do
without your music, and I'm doing this to myself.
we got you trained so good.
LeBron James
Yeah.
talks of him leaving in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Adam, you're a Knicks fan.
Yeah, I am.
How would you feel if LeBron James went to the Knicks? Because that is a very big possibility.
I don't think it is. They don't have the money for him.
He says he loves New York.
Who doesn't?
He told me.
He told me.
Bron told me.
Yeah.
Well, there's also talk of Carmelo Anthony leaving as well. So if they were to replace each other,
That ain't happening.
That
This
is-
ain't no motherfucking NBA 2K.
I know. I mean,
ain't happening.
Yeah, I know it's not going to happen, but even so, I'm still not a LeBron fan. Period.
Right.
I would not be if he went to the Knicks. I would still support the Knicks, but I wouldn't support him as
I guess
you know.
that's a good question in and of itself. Like, if a player that you don't like ends up on your team, how would you react to that? Would you still go for the team? Would you, what would you do?
I'd still have
How
to
would
root
you-
for the team, but I mean,
Would you be
I just
I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah, I would
but
like
I'm
a-
glad he's scoring 30
Exactly,
points.
that's what would happen. I wouldn't get his jersey. I wouldn't shout him out on a Facebook status or something. But I would still support the team because that's my team, regardless.
Yeah.
Not a fair weather fan, so even if they were horrible,
Right,
which
Miami.
they are, I would still support them.
Yeah.
But as backlash for that, of him leaving Miami, I've also heard that Wade and Bosch are considering leaving because they aren't going to pay them as much as they did while LeBron was there because they're like considered, I guess, like a package deal or some shit. I don't know.
Okay.
It's that Wade and Bosch don't score or assist, whatever, sports terms, as much
Okay.
without LeBron.
What
as they
happened
do
was
with LeBron.
when they first got together in 2010,
LeBron James.
they all took a pay cut to play together because they had to. There was no way that Miami would be able to afford 3 All-Stars.
Right.
So they all took a pay cut. Fast forward 4 years, and both Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh are not performing at the level that they're being paid to perform at. And LeBron James is a 4-time MVP who deserves all the money that, you know, an NBA team can offer him. So that's why this is happening now. He's looking at it like, look, I took a fucking pay cut the last time we did this. I'm not doing it again. I deserve the money, and I deserve a good team around me. I'm a 4-time MVP, 2-time NBA champion. I'm the best player in the league, which he is.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you don't like him, he is the best player in the league.
Best actor in the league?
Yeah, he's really good at that,
He's
too.
really good, yeah.
Very, very excellent
That's why
actor.
they're considering for Space Jam.
Play that B-roll.
So, yeah, I mean, he deserves it. He deserves if a team, but it's not going to happen. Miami can't pay him a max contract and bring those 2 guys back
Right.
without them both having take a pay cut. You're gonna
pay me a few $1 million less to
That's-
play a game?
That's really what it's about.
I'm not gonna prove
It's about a couple $1 million
Yep.
that they feel like they deserve, and they all feel like they deserve the money. Even the role players feel like they deserve more money. That's just how it goes. Every NBA player feels like they deserve more money. As soon as they average more than 10 points a game, all of a sudden, for some reason, they feel like they deserve millions of dollars.
You owe me.
It's madness. Go Magic.
Woo!
I got one more. So, last but not least, trailer trash.
Trailer trash.
This isn't trash though.
Well, hold on.
Alright.
I feel like we should just call this bit trailer trash regardless of if we like the trailer or not. We need a name for the bit.
Or we could just say not trash.
It can't be trailer not trash.
No.
Trailer not trash.
Trailer trash. Is it trash or not trash? And at the end we go, not trash.
Yeah, okay. I like that.
All right.
Trailer trash.
Trailer trash.
Not necessary. Not necessary.
So in this week's edition, we have the Jimi Hendrix, not necessarily a biopic, All Is By My Side. From what I've been able to research, it's not really his life story. Mm-hmm. It's 12 months of his life when he went to London, because when he was in America, he wasn't really popping. Nobody really gave a shit. He goes to London, and he starts making a name for himself, and Keith Richards and fucking Jimmy Page.
It's because the English liked American blues.
So he came over there, and they were like, "This is it."
Yeah.
So then the movie is like, I think it's right before he comes back to America, and he does that festival where he played the American anthem, and basically what made him a star, what blew him up.
Wasn't that Woodstock?
Okay, Woodstock was when he did that, but it was a festival before that.
Okay.
So yeah, it's 12 months of his life in that time frame.
Okay.
So that's what the movie's about.
Oh my
What'd you think
God,
of the trailer?
Shut up, Marco.
Oh God, I'm gonna break this beer bottle over your head. What'd you think?
It's good.
All right. So anyway, I thought it was good. The only thing that concerns me with this movie, which I mean, like, it's only been shown on here, I was listening for it, is they're not going to actually have the rights to any of the Jimi Hendrix songs.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So
That's gonna be interesting.
it's like if they made Ray and not had any songs in
Well,
it.
okay. Do you know that for sure?
I'm pretty sure. I read up on it a little bit, months ago, and that was one of the big things that stuck out to me. Because I feel like that's like really good casting.
Yeah.
Like near perfect casting, but
Andre 3 Stacks.
without any of the music, how are you going to have a movie about Jimi Hendrix?
You can't have a music biopic. You can't have anything about a musician, period, and not have the guy's actual music. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
So that's going to be interesting to see how they pull that off. I'm pleasantly surprised at how well I think Andre might do in this.
It's
it's
weird,
not
like seeing him, like he's literally just dressing like he usually dresses, but he's talking weird. So it's kind of, he's nailing it, but
he sounds like Jimmy. He does.
Yeah.
So,
But
I
does
mean,
he play like him?
that's a good question.
No.
No.
You never know.
That's not
He
a
could be
question.
the next Jimmy.
He's
no.
not, though.
No.
You never know.
You can't play Jimi Hendrix in a movie and then be the next Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't.
You don't know. What do you know about music? Nothing.
Marco had a dream one time.
He ain't Martin Luther.
Marco had a dream?
All right, well, I'm glad I brought this up. This was really successful.
Yeah, way to go.
Yeah. All right, I'm done. This was the One Beer In podcast. My name is Mr. Dupa. That guy is Adam Obesis Rodriguez and Drunk Dave Romero.
Yo, you can follow me at Romero.
Yeah? You want to spell it?
Rome. R-O-A-M. Underscore. Arrow. A-E-R-O.
Because you like to make things difficult for people.
Hey. Makes sense.
Follow us on the WordPress, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all at One Beer In, all one word. Please follow. We might follow back. We probably won't. Just kidding. We will. We'll follow back definitely. Check us out on.
Only if you're pretty.
If you a fine bitch, we'll follow back.
Or a handsome hoe.
But that's it. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Happy 4th of July.
Be safe, y'all.